Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Detective.
How you doing?
Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
I'm Detective Brian Bernard. It's B-R-Y-A-N. Last name's Bernard, B-A-R-N-A-R-D.
And Detective Bernard, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Galveston County Sheriff's Office.
What is your role at the Galveston County Sheriff's Office?
I'm assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division in the Major Crimes Unit.
And how long have you been with the Major Crimes Unit?
Since January of this year.
So, roughly 10 to 11 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the entirety of your law enforcement career?
No, ma'am.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Approximately 10 years.
And we've heard some prior testimony about going through the academy and getting a TCOL certification. Have you done all those typical things as well?
I have.
Okay. You said approximately 10 years. What was your first role in law enforcement?
I started with the Santa Fe Police Department in January of 2016.
How long were you with the Santa Fe Police Department?
Almost 4 years.
And what role did you have with them?
I was a patrolman.
And for those of us who may not know, just kind of briefly, what's a patrolman?
So a patrolman is, we're basically in a marked unit and ride around and answer calls for service, conduct traffic stops, and look for crime. Try to be proactive when we're not answering calls.
And after that 4 years with Santa Fe, where did you go next?
I moved to the Galveston County Sheriff's Office.
And what role did you have at the Galveston County Sheriff's Office first?
I started off on patrol here.
How long were you there?
Don't make me lie to you, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years.
What role did you move into after that?
I moved into our narcotics unit.
And what is your narcotics unit? What do you do?
So I was a member of the Organized Crime Task Force, and we primarily focused on gangs, guns, drugs, prostitution, gambling, that sort of thing.
And how long was it that you were in the Organized Crime Task Force in the narcotics unit?
A little over 2 years.
And is that the last unit that you were in prior to moving to Major Crimes?
Correct.
Now, what is the difference between you being on as part of the narcotics unit versus being part of the Major Crimes unit?
So when I was in narcotics, we primarily focused on the crimes that I mentioned before. Major crimes, we deal with a litany of things. It can be from theft at a store to capital murder.
And does the way that you approach those investigations, are they the same or different on narcotics versus major crimes?
Some ways are the same, some ways are different.
What are some of the ways that they're the same?
Some ways that are the same, we conduct interviews just like we would in narcotics. We have access to the same tools that we use in narcotics as far as researching and that type of thing that are law enforcement specific. We conduct surveillance just like we would when we were in narcotics. One of the differences is we don't use CIs or do undercover buys and that sort of thing.
And just so everyone's on the same page, what would a CI be?
A confidential informant.
Okay. And that's something that you would typically use in the narcotics unit, but not in major crimes?
Correct.
Okay. I want to bring your attention to February 6, 2025. What were you doing on that day?
I got a call that there was a suspicious death in Bay Cliff. I was actually asleep when this all went down.
That was about to be my question. You said you were actually asleep. About what time did this call come in?
Roughly midnight, a little after.
Okay. So would it be after midnight then on the February 7th, that Friday?
I don't remember the exact date. Can I look at my report?
Absolutely. If you want to refresh and then look back at me once you're refreshed.
Yeah, stand by. I have a bunch of reports. It would have been a little after midnight on February the 8th. That's what I wrote in the report. I may have missed the date.
No problem. Is it fair to say that you were called the night of a Thursday going into a Friday?
Yes.
Okay. And if we have previous testimony that Thursday is the 6th and Friday is the 7th, does that sound right?
I can't argue with the calendar.
Okay. So you get this call around midnight, and you said there was a suspicious death, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, where was it that you were sent to?
4723 15th Avenue, or 15th Street, Bay Cliff, Galveston County, Texas.
And what kind of area was 15th Street in Bay Cliff?
It's a residential neighborhood.
And what was 4723 a residence?
Yes, ma'am. It sits on the east side of 15th Street.
And when you, are you familiar with the Bay Cliff area?
Very.
Why very?
I patrolled that area for the time I was on patrol here.
So for that, roughly 2 years?
Yes, ma'am. It's a pretty small town, so.
And so you said Bay Cliff's a pretty small town, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is Bay Cliff part of kind of an area?
The sheriff's office referred to it as the Bay Shore.
And what all is included in the Bay Shore?
Bay Cliff and San Leon.
And how familiar are you with the Bay Shore as a whole?
I'm very familiar.
And is it for those same reasons for your time on patrol?
Yes, ma'am. And narcotics.
Okay. So is from your time in narcotics, you also got familiar with the Bay Shore, is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the Bay Shore somewhere where narcotics is pretty prevalent or not very?
I would say it's pretty prevalent.
Okay. Once you arrived at 4723 15th Street, can you tell the jury what it is you could see?
So there were, excuse me, there were patrol cars that were already there. Obviously, they were first on scene. They contacted the on-call detective, who was Detective Hudson, and which is where I got dispatched to head out there. When I got out there, I made contact with Deputy Tausch.
Okay. And when you made contact with Deputy Tausch, what was the first thing that you did?
I got briefed on what he had on the scene, and then I made contact with Detective Hudson, who got there a few minutes after I did.
And what was it that you and Detective Hudson started doing?
We made contact with Terry Utton and conducted an interview with him inside my unit.
And without telling me anything that Mr. Utton said, did you learn his relationship to anyone within the home?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that?
That he was the former brother-in-law, now boyfriend of Tammy.
Okay. And did you learn who all lived inside that residence?
Yes, it was Tammy and Tara.
After you made contact with Mr. Utton, what was the next thing that you did?
I cut a search warrant for the residence.
Okay. Why is it that you cut a search warrant?
Because at that time, we didn't know where Tara King was, and she still has an expectation of privacy inside her home. And we wanted to search her room as well as the rest of the residents, and since she was not there to give consent, we had to write search warrants for the entire property.
So is it fair to say you wrote it just as an abundance of caution with there being multiple people who lived in the home?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach this witness?
Yes.
I'm approaching you with what's been temporarily marked as States 99. Without telling me what it is, do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Has it been changed or altered in any way other than the exhibit stickers added by the state?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Your Honor, may the state move to admit States 99?
No objection.
States 99 will be admitted.
And Detective Bernard, what is States 99?
That's the search warrant I wrote for the residents.
And can you tell us that address real quick?
4723 15th Street, Bay Cliff, Galveston County, Texas.
And is that a photo of the residence?
It is.
Now, once you obtained this search warrant, did you execute this search warrant?
Yes.
And for those of us who may not understand, what does executing a search warrant entail?
So executing a search warrant is where it gives law enforcement permission to enter residence and search the residence. Typically, there's a process to doing that. Our crime scene guys have to go in and photograph everything before we search the residence. That's typically after everybody's out of the house.
So after crime scene went in and did their initial documentation, do you enter the house?
Yes.
And can you tell us what you observe upon entering the house?
So when you walk into the house, you immediately walk into like the living room area. To me, it looked like the place had been burglarized. There were things thrown on the floor. There were guns kind of stacked up against the wall. There were a bunch of cards and papers on the floor. And then I walked into there's like a little dining room area and then a kitchen. I walked into there, and then off to the south of that dining room, there's a bedroom that looked like it belonged to Tara. It's pretty gross.
Why do you think it looked like it belonged to Tara?
It was full of a bunch of like young girl stuff, like dolls and.
And when you say it was gross, what do you mean?
There was old food. There was bottles full of urine. There was just stuff, and it was nasty. I've been in cleaner dope houses.
Okay. And was Tara's room in a different condition than the rest of the house?
To me, it was, yes.
Okay. After going in Tara's room, where did you go next?
I moved to the master bedroom where Tammy was at.
And what did you observe inside the master bedroom?
That room, there was a bunch of clutter. I would call it organized chaos inside there. Tammy was laying kind of across the bed with her head on the west side of the bed. She was covered partially with some sheets and then had a bunch of like sheets and blankets wrapped around her head.
And did the way that the sheets and blankets were, did that seem natural for somebody laying in bed or something else?
No, it was completely opposite of what you would want to be laying in bed with.
Okay. And what else could you observe about Tammy?
She was nude. I could see that she had some lividity on the bottom of her skin.
What does that mean?
So when someone dies, their blood pools to the lowest point.
And is that something that is visible to the eye?
Yes.
And through your training experience, have you seen individuals with lividity before?
Yes.
And when you see lividity, is that something that you see immediately after death, or does it take a while to occur?
It takes a little while for that to happen.
And when you first walked in, was there anything else that you observed about that master bedroom?
The gun safes were open. They had I can't remember if there was one or two, but there was a big safe against the wall. There was like a mattress pushed up against the bathroom door.
How were the contents of that gun safe?
Missing.
Missing? So there was nothing that you could see in there?
Some empty boxes.
And was there anything else that seemed out of place in that room? Anything on the floor, or how did that seem?
Not that I can recall right offhand.
Okay. But you do recall that the gun safe was open and appeared empty?
Yes.
After you made observations in that master bedroom, what was the next thing that you did?
I went back outside and spoke with Sergeant Stevenson, I'm sorry. And we had received information that Tara and Uriah were possibly in the League City area. So we left there to go attempt to locate them.
Okay. And when you were attempting to locate, how do you attempt to locate somebody? What were you doing?
We followed an exigency ping on a phone. I didn't have the ping.
Okay. So is that how you just learned to go to a certain area?
Yes.
And what area of League City were you in?
518 and Highway 3.
Okay. And while you were there, were you sitting in one place or were you driving around, or both?
We were driving around.
Okay. While you were in Lake City, did you ultimately locate Tara or Uriah?
I did not.
Okay. after you drove around Lake City, what was the next thing that you did?
Left there and went back to the house where photographs are still being taken of the house. We were executing the search warrant. At that time, we left there and went and spoke with Shauna Pridgeon,
Okay, and who was Shauna Pridgeon in relation to anybody involved?
Uriah's mother.
Okay, and who went to speak to Shauna Pridgeon?
Myself and Captain Miller.
Was Shauna the only individual you made contact with?
No, sir. Or no, ma'am, I'm sorry.
It is all right. And who was the other person or people that you made contact with?
His stepfather,
Okay, do you recall his name?
Joshua, I believe.
Okay. And without telling me what anybody said, what were Shauna and Joshua's demeanors?
Joshua is a little easier to describe. He was kind of quiet. He just kind of stood back while we spoke with Miss Pridgeon. She was upset, obviously, as any mother would be.
So,
She didn't really know what was going on at the time.
so reasonably upset.
Yes.
While you were speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Pridgeon, did you receive anything from them?
We got a picture of a Cash App where I guess some money had been entered into his account, or to Uriah's account, his Cash App account, and then immediately withdrawn.
So some information about Uriah's financials, is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. After you left the Pridgeons, where did you go?
I went back to the original house.
And what happened once you arrived back at the home?
That they were collecting evidence then.
When you say they, who do you mean?
Our crime scene.
While they're collecting evidence, what are you doing?
At that point, I'm helping them to see if there's any other evidence that we may see that our crime scene guys may not have seen. So we're going through and assisting with the search of the residence.
And was there anything that stood out to you as you searched the residence?
So when we went in there, there was a bag of dog food on the floor. I thought it was really weird. The dog food was cut open and just kind of left open, like somebody was leaving a dog there. There was like 2 or 3 water bowls, but there wasn't a dog.
So that stood out to you, that there was dog food and no dog?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything else that stood out to you as you searched the home?
Detective Rodriguez found a letter. It was pretty weird.
Okay. And is that a letter that was located where?
In Tara's bedroom.
Okay. And after that, what's the next thing that occurred or that you observed?
I moved into the living room where they were collecting the guns and stuff. I found a bag of weed and stuff behind the couch.
And when you say you found a bag of weed, was this like large amounts of marijuana or what someone would describe as personal use marijuana?
I'd say probably an ounce or 2, wasn't much.
And for those who may not be familiar with how much is a lot in weed terms, is an ounce or 2 a lot or a little?
I would say it's a little.
Okay. What was the next step in your part of the investigation?
That was my report.
If you want to refresh your memory and then look up at me once you feel refreshed.
Yeah. Okay, so the next day, Lieutenant Cazares and myself, we had received information that there was a car that may possibly be involved, and we went to Lake Jackson to look at that car, and we spoke with them, but it turns out they were just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay. I want to back up real quick when we're still at the house on Friday. At any point did you observe Miss King once those blankets had been removed?
I did.
And what, if any, observations did you make?
I was there with the medical examiner, investigator, and he had located a bullet wound, or a gunshot wound, to the left side of her head near her ear.
Okay. So then we moved to the next day. You said that you received information, received some tips. Was there something that occurred on Friday that led to the sheriff's office receiving tips and calls?
Yes, they put out Facebook posts.
And is that something that is pretty usual in major crimes?
Yeah, typically.
So you stated that you looked into a vehicle in Lake Jackson, but ultimately it was not involved.
I need to back up a little bit.
Go for it.
So before we went there, I was on my way to the office and got rerouted to 310 Waco Street in Lake City.
And what kind of location is 310 Waco?
It's an apartment complex, specifically apartment 106.
And when you arrived at apartment 106, who, if anybody, did you make contact with?
That would have been Christian Adkins.
And about how old was Christian Atkins?
Early 20s, maybe. I have his birthday here. I can do some quick math if you'd like.
You're good. Early 20s works. So, when you met with Christian Atkins, what significance did 310 Waco apartment 106 have?
Without talking about our conversation. Christian was in possession of some firearms, some hair dye, some hair, and a bunch of clothes that Tara and Uriah had left behind.
So Tara and Uriah had been at that location?
Correct.
And so when you arrived at that location, what did you see, or how, let me back up. Was Christian cooperating with you?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, may I approach the exhibits?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I publish date 63?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Detective Bernard, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
That is a consent to search the residence at 310 Waco.
And who gave consent to that location?
That was Christian Atkins. He gave consent to search the entire apartment minus his bedroom. He had 3 pretty big aggressive dogs in there.
And the individuals that he gave consent to were who?
Myself or any deputy with the sheriff's office.
Okay. And so you said he gave consent to go anywhere in his home except for his room due to having 3 large dogs. Is that fair?
Yes, they were aggressive.
Okay. When you went into Christian's home, what did you observe?
So Christian had piled up a bunch of clothes that I guess Tara had left behind. He had some guns that were in like soft gun cases. He had piled up a bunch of hair dye and things like that that I guess they had gone to Walmart and bought, and a bunch of hair that I guess they were cutting their hair.
And did crime scene come out to assist with the search?
They did.
And did they collect pertinent evidence and document it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, before we go any further, it's already 5. So why don't I go ahead and release when we start up again tomorrow morning at 9:30.
All rise for the jury.
Court stands in recess until tomorrow morning at 9:30.
I don't have to do this tomorrow unless they just say. Okay.
Hey, Gavin.
I'm gonna double check. All I know is that
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
see you tomorrow.
You know, you have a plea in the morning.
I do. I'll be here.
No,
I think you're on.
hello, Sam. Sam, still here.
Fantastic.
I should be here all day.
Okay, well, hopefully, I don't know who's preparing the paperwork for all the
Here's,
tomorrow.
normal.
I'm sure Quentin's
Three
on it.
defendants.
Yes, ma'am.
Sam,
I'm sure Quentin and Sam are on it.
Sam has one, Quentin has the other three, they're all one person.
okay, all right, I think we have three defendants. So I guess Quentin's taken care of.
I have faith.
Run into that problem again?
You come in here.
I don't know how this works. I've never been on overtime.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and give me another.
Yeah, that, I almost like audibly laughed at that. That was a fun one.